It's Dandadan! Today we're talking about Dandadan, a manga about the Dum-Da-Dums. And it is Chapter 206 Day. We finally, after all of this time, have the conclusion we all wanted with Evil Eye. I think. I mean, Seiko was still beat up, which I'm not too happy about, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this chapter is actually really interesting and may have one of the most goated endings of any chapter of Dandadan ever. So let's go ahead and jump in. So we pick up from 205 with Gigi taunting Inenra about his newfound power, because now he can use the power of Evil Eye and fire his evil gun. It is the best of both worlds, like that awesome Van Halen song. Turns out, though, that Evil Eye and Gigi have fused together. But it is a bit more complicated than that, because what is actually happening is Gigi and I are switching back and forth at insanely high speeds. The way it is described is actually brilliant, too. It's like how a light bulb flickers at high speeds, but to the human eye, only looks like it is constantly lit. Which I, for one, do not know about light bulbs, but what would I know? I'm rather dim. Thank you. I'll be here all week. But what I really enjoyed about this detail is that this all came from this little joke in an older chapter of the two switching back and forth while playing Momotaro Dentetsu, which, by the way, is a real game. I didn't know about that. I never thought to search it up until now. It's very real. But I think the reason this is so cool to me is because it is a reward for readers who actually try to pay attention to every detail like myself. That small little thing became the reason years later that Gigi was able to defeat Inenra and protect Seiko from a certain death. That is just cool to me. I don't know, maybe I'm alone in that. So Inenra, being smart as hell, points out that his true nature hasn't exactly changed, and thus uses smoke particles to invade his lungs to make him weak. In a sense, I actually wanted to see more of this detail in the chapter for Inenra, but I can see why they did not dwell on it in this fight for too long, as I think Inenra will appear again somewhere later down the road and likely use that same thing again, so they want to make it a surprise. Plus, I would absolutely have overcome this anyways, because as shown, even though his evil gun was incredibly weak and invisible, which means that he wasn't able to efficiently channel his ki or chi, Gigi does eventually understand that while Inenra is able to have many tricks to catch everyone off guard, it's just not, it's not enough. Side note, I absolutely loved this art of Inenra forcing himself down Gigi's throat. Phrasing. It was just so sinister looking and painful looking too, but it's great art. So Gigi is able to use what he saw when Inenra was standing on Seiko's chest to see what he should do in this situation. Seiko didn't breathe in any smoke particles because her lungs were being blocked and she couldn't breathe because, I don't know, Inenra was standing on her. So he shoots the smoke out of his lungs quite literally and sends Inenra shooting out of his throat. And to note here as well, this art of Inenra being forced out and looking like an actual snack, like some ungodly monster, is some really godly art from Tatsu and his team. Holy crap, this was awesome. And in a very sentimentally sweet moment, Gigi and I recall the lessons Seiko taught them. If you channel your chi, then it won't matter if there's an obstacle in front of you. This is brilliant because there is a double meaning to this. The literal meaning is if Gigi focuses and channels his chi, he should be able to always call upon and use his powers at a moment's notice. Right, simple. But the deeper meaning behind it, at least from my perspective, is that Seiko was telling Gigi that as long as he can focus on the things he has learned up until now and beyond and all of its lessons, then he cannot be stopped by anyone. He will always succeed in life. In anything. And that's why I love Dandadan, because there's always this kind of optimistic inclusivity. Everyone can take this segment and apply meaning to it in any way to their own life. And of course, I have more theories on what this tiny little thing actually means later in the video. Don't want you clicking off now. Also, it is hella wild that Gigi put his hand to his mouth and his hand to his crotch. Oh my god, this was an absolute wild pose there. Insane, some might say. What is even more insane is the molly-whopping Gigi subjected Inenra to. This was so satisfying to watch him pull together all of these things Seiko taught the two and defeat Inenra using those tools. Because Gigi realizes that even in this current state, he still has effective tools to use against him. Namely, to stop him from dispersing, using Evil Gun to squeeze him tight, which delays his ability to turn into smoke. And guys, the absolute best part of this chapter is when Gigi and I recall Seiko telling the kids that she will make him family. And so despite him making fun of Seiko's predicament when he showed up to save her, she tells Inenra to not stand on her like she's nothing. So to protect his found family, his parent, his mentor, he does his best JoJo and obliterates Inenra sitting and packing. This was awesome. Literally through the castle interior out into the parking lot below. I loved this. I loved it. And just this alone, honestly, I think could have been an incredible moment to end the chapter and make the arc just, you know, a very good arc, all things considered. But Tatsu, being who this man is, decides to make us all cry happy tears. While holding a covered up and bloodied Seiko in his arms, he carries Seiko out of the castle as he says that if Seiko were in top form, his master could have insta-killed a guy like him. Bravo. This was a brilliant, heartfelt moment from Gigi and Evil Eye. This is how you give Evil Eye his redemption arc right here, guys and gals. And do me a favor, by the way, call your mom and dad and tell them you love them. This was absolutely moving to me. It was such a beautiful ending to this chapter. I have to say that it is truly incredible how Evil Eye was able to, when you think about it, come full circle. And this all started initially from a conversation between Seiko and Okarun too, which is even crazier. Seiko, who is constantly struggling with her dilemma of whether to protect the kids from the world or let them face it, which I talked about in last week's Sea Tactics video on my channel, just a quick plug, told Okarun to repay everything Seiko did for him forward to the next person. You give it away tomorrow without the sorrow. And that is both what Seiko and Okarun chose to do. Through that, Okarun was able to influence Gigi to help him and Evil Eye come to an understanding. Through that, they were able to play games together and train, and then ultimately, when this moment happened, Gigi and Evil Eye repaid Seiko's kindness forward to Seiko, and that ended up saving her life. She saved herself by saving those kids and just being honest with them, not knowing what the best way to protect was, but giving them honest advice nonetheless. I'm telling you guys, this has to be one of the all-time best moments in Dandadan, period. It's perfect writing, and dare I say will go down in Dandadan history and be remembered for a long time to come. This is long-term storytelling paying off, and Seiko's character now feels much more important than she already did, and she is the GOAT. The one who is here to guide these kids in the only way she knows how to. A mind full of problems and contradictions and actions which shows a master with a steady hand making careful decisions so that she can see her kids grow up and become fine men and women, except for Ira, who is already a fine man and or woman. Listen, I'm an Ira fan, okay? I'm sorry. Stop hating on her, you guys. Anyways, Seiko isn't some granny with dusty hips. She is a mother to these children, and a light in the darkness for them. Without Seiko, there isn't a Dandadan, period. Or a Dum-Da-Dum, period. All in all, man, this was such an incredible arc, and I think it is all because of the ending too. Without everything I just talked about, and probably even more details I missed, this arc would have been good, and that's about it. So let me know your thoughts on the chapter and where this ending sits with you. Every little like, comment, and subscription, which is free, helps us spread the Dum-Da-Dum cooties to the next hopeless Dum-Da-Dum. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, please check out this playlist for all of my Dandadan content right here. Make it a great day or not. the choice is yours.